So what are my thoughts on the 40-man Royal Rumble? First, let me talk about generally what I want out of a Royal Rumble. Number one is star power. The Rumble has to have enough star power. It has to be filled with all these big names in the ring beating each other up. Like Royal Rumble 92. That one had Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, Macho Man. It had like everybody. You know, if the Royal Rumble is filled with all these people that I don't care about, then I don't look forward as much as to who's coming out next. It's got to have the star power. Number two, I want a Royal Rumble to have that Iron Man component, where guys like the $1 Million Man and the British Bulldog might not actually win it, but they're in there forever. You know, therefore, a Royal Rumble has to be long enough for that to happen. Royal Rumble 95 sucked because they came in every 1 minute and everyone was out in half an hour. You know, in my opinion, a 30-man Royal Rumble, they should come in every 2 minutes so that there's a full hour between number 1 and number 30. Number 3 are the character performances. The Royal Rumble is not your traditional match, so therefore you're not going to get your traditional type of in-ring performances. Therefore, in my opinion, things like charisma, personality, the little intangibles, and the character performances take center stage. You know, Roddy Piper flying down to the ring with his arms out. Ric Flair low-blowing everyone. The ringmaster clotheslining Shawn Michaels and imitating him. You know, the little things. The demonstrations of personality. Number 4 is the booking. You have 30 wrestlers and 60 minutes to tell a story. Tell a good one. Number 5 is execution. You may have the best script in the world and the best wrestlers in the world, but you still have to actually go out there and actually perform the show. You know, I heard one of the things that WWE is proud of about Royal Rumble 2004 is that it was one of the only ones where everyone went in and was eliminated in the exact order that they were supposed to. That's what I heard. You know, the wrestlers have to go out there and perform the show properly. So how good do I think this 40-man Royal Rumble is going to be? Well, it depends. In my opinion, it depends on 3 things. Number 1 is the ham and egger count. You got 40 guys. How many of them are no names and rookies that we don't care about? Because in my opinion, if there are too many ham and eggers, it's going to get boring watching them come out one by one. You know, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, no name. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, no name. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, no name. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, oh, here comes a star. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, no name. You know, it's going to get old, you know? In my opinion, one of the major appeals of the Royal Rumble is not just find out which wrestler is coming out next, it's find out which star is coming out next. I would rather have a 20-man all-star Royal Rumble than have a 50-man Royal Rumble filled with mostly no-names, you know? So what's the ham and egger count here? Number 2 is the Iron Man component. How long between wrestlers coming out to the ring? 2 minutes is good for 30 guys, but for 40 guys, that's an hour and 20 minutes long. That's too damn long. On the other hand, 1 minute means between 1 and 30 is only 40 minutes long. That's too short. I think the optimal choice is 1.5 minutes. I think whether you have 30 guys or you have 40 guys, you want them all out in about an hour. Finally, why are they increasing the Royal Rumble to 40 wrestlers? You know, what's the purpose? You know, is it for artistic reasons? No, really. Is it for artistic reasons? You know, do they have a truly original, creative story to tell that's better with 40 wrestlers? Or is it for practical reasons? Are they planning to make a wrestler like The Undertaker look strong? Look, throw out a ton of guys, maybe break the record for a number of guys thrown out by a single wrestler, so that's why they're loading up the Royal Rumble with more guys? Or is it for some BS marketing reason? Is it because they feel like there's not enough hype going into the pay-per-view, so they're throwing out this last-second marketing gimmick? You know, it's the first 40-man Royal Rumble. Because if that's the reason, then that's lame. So yeah, do I think this 40-man Royal Rumble is going to be good? Well, it all depends. If it's being done for artistic reasons, if they truly have an original story to tell, then that's great. Bring it on. But if it's just some stupid, half-assed marketing gimmick there to spice up a half-assed product, then in my opinion, once again, the WWE will have given us an exercise in mediocrity. this is my top 5 WWE makeovers. What do I mean by makeover? It's when a wrestler starts out with a certain gimmick and it just doesn't seem to be working. You know, the fans are booing, they're indifferent, and they just don't seem to care. So the WWE takes this character, modifies it, tweaks it, sometimes just a little bit, and now all of a sudden, like, all the fans like him. After I do my opinion on the top 5 makeovers, I'm gonna do just the reverse of that, where a wrestler's gimmick starts out good, but then for whatever reason the WWE changes it, and now it's not as good anymore, or outright sucks. You know, what I call a make-under. So my opinion on the top 5 WWE makeovers, then my opinion on the top 5 WWE make-unders. For the top 5 makeovers, coming in at number 5, the Edge and Christian Tag Team. I forgot to mention this in my last video. Besides being the Rated R champion, the other time I liked Edge was when he was in a tag team with Christian, and it started to get really entertaining, you know, when they started to get really arrogant, alright? But let's start at the beginning. When Edge first debuted, I recall people joking on the message boards that Edge's heat stopped once his music stopped, you know? It sometimes almost felt like people were cheering for his music more than him. But soon the WWE started to tweak his character, and it kept getting better. You know, Edge, Christian, and Gangrel were in the Brood, and they would rise up on the platform, you know, dun, 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 jing, 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 you know, and that was an improvement. That was far more interesting. But when Edge and Christian started really getting good was when they split up with Gangrel, and they started getting really arrogant. They started getting really cocky, you know, like, sure, I'll give you an autograph, kid. That'll be $10, you know. And they'd be chilling backstage with their huge sunglasses and posing in the ring like this, you know. And I think Kurt Angle joined them at one point. That was the best, you know. What an awesome makeover, or should I say, it reeked of awesomeness. Coming in at number 4, Hardcore Holly. I feel like I gotta include Hardcore Holly. This guy started out as Thurman Sparky Plug. He started out as Thurman Sparky Plug with his checkered flag tights. Then he became Bob Sparkplug Holly and fought Hunter S. Helmsley at SummerSlam 95. You know, but you could tell the WWE was trying to make it better. After briefly being in the New Midnight Express with Bart Gunn, he became Hardcore Holly, and it was so much better. He had his storyline cousin Crash, who would come out with the scale. You know, even the action figure included a scale. And his storyline cousin Molly Holly, it was so much better. That is one heck of a makeover. At number 3, Mr. Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund comes back to the WWF. At WrestleMania 9 against Razor Ramon, Backlund is supposed to be the good guy, but like the whole crowd is chanting, Razor! 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 And even Razor's like, you know? So the WWF starts to modify the character. On Raw, Bob Backlund cinches in his finishing move on some ham and egger, starts going crazy, you know, and from then on, he turns into this elitist heel who talks down on people, and when he gets in the ring, starts looking at his hands like, ah! You know, and it starts getting better. I think number 1 and number 2 are obvious. The Rock and Stone Cold. Two of the biggest stars in wrestling history started out as Rocky Maivia and the Ringmaster. I think that's all that needs to be said, right? I put The Rock as the number 1 though, because though the fans didn't seem to mind the Ringmaster that much, many of them seemed to despise Rocky Maivia, chanting Rocky sucks and holding up Rocky sucks signs. To go from that to being one of the biggest wrestling stars in history, in my opinion, has got to be the best wrestling makeover. And now, on to the top 5 make-unders. Characters that, in my opinion, started out good, but then the WWE modified them and they were not as good. Coming in at number 5, Kurt Angle. I've already discussed original versus current Kurt Angle character in a previous video. In my opinion, Attitude Era Kurt Angle is one of the greatest wrestling characters of all time. By 2006, however, they turned him into this more serious wrestling machine type character. You know, like, what? Was Kurt Angle's hair the source of all his comedic power or something? Is that why when it got shaved off, he got gradually more serious? Coming in at number 3 and 4, Val Venus and the Good Father. The Good Father used to come out with all these women. Val Venus used to compare himself to a Rubik's Cube. They went from that to wearing shirts and ties as a part of the Right to Censor faction. If that's not a make-under, I don't know what is! Coming in at number 2, the unmasked version of Kane. Man, I don't even want to talk about this one. Let's just move on. Coming in at number 1, made in the USA, Lex Luger. From the narcissist to made in the USA, Lex Luger. You know, why is this number 1? Because in my opinion, the narcissist had the potential to be one of my favorite wrestling characters of all time. You know, going into 1993 as a wrestling fan, I was all about the narcissist Lex Luger and Razor Ramon. These two heels that debuted in 92. You know, I was a fan of Razor Ramon and I was a fan of the narcissist Lex Luger. You know, coming out with all these women, you know, you know, posing. Man, narcissist ruled! But next thing you know, Hogan leaves, Luger body slams Yoko, and all of a sudden it's made in the USA Lex Luger, you know, coming out in the Stars and Stripes with a shorter haircut, wearing the USA flag jacket. I was like, it felt like they had plans for the narcissist, you know? He attacked Bret Hart on WrestleMania 9 weekend, you know? But I guess Hogan left, and they looked at Lex Luger and decided to make him the next Hogan. You know, man! Some people have said to me that if I was a kid, I would like babyface Boy Scout John Cena. I don't think so. I was a kid when they turned Lex Luger babyface Boy Scout, and I was like, no! So there you have it. My opinion as a wrestling fan on the top 5 WWE Make-Unders and the top 5 WWE Makeovers.